Hey there, viewers. My name's Torinski, and welcome back to another, not DCSS Sunday, I guess, but DCSS Monday. Today we're going to be jumping right back into the usual routine, trying to get a win with every species in the game, and where we last left off, we finally managed to get through species 26, Meteorin. First time starting and ending a run in the same day, at least for a long time, not since back when we had 7-8 hour streams have we achieved similar results, so very happy with how all that went. But of course now we're jumping into the, for now, final species of the game in Mummy, and so very much been looking forward to this, and who knows what the dungeon has in store. So without further ado, let's just get ready to hop into it, shall we? No more Gemini solo. Glad to be through with you, Meteorin. Again, still love you, but there we are, the end of the line here, the end of the list, and let's start getting ready for Mummy here, shall we? And probably gonna start with, as mentioned last night, Ice Elementalist is pretty high on my list. Of course, Conjurer, also pretty up there. I mean, the Conjurer starting spellbook is just incredible. There's always also Summoner if we want to have extra bodies in the way. We saw some pretty decent Summoner play, I think on one of our Felids a bit ago, and definitely enjoyed some of the changes that have been made there. Some pretty powerful additions. So really, the world is our oyster, and there's plenty for us to work with here. There was also the suggestion of Delver, but I don't know if I'm feeling brave enough, especially when we have a couple of Saphid's best names on the line here, so let's try and survive. Let's start Ice Elementalist. That's my classic go-to. And since this is potentially the warm-up run, we're gonna save Cryptopher for a little bit later. Don't get me wrong, full confidence that we're gonna make it through this in one piece, of course, never a doubt in my mind. But we'll start off with Ryan Gosling here. Gosling, how about like that? And okie dokie, let's get ready to hop into it. Of course, with mummies, we're in a very interesting position here. We start out with fire vulnerability, and in kind of exchange for that, we get a bit of cold resistance. As with most undead species here, we have full positive energy, full poison immunity. We also have torment immunity as well. I was going to say don't need to eat, but that's no longer relevant whatsoever. The other big thing, of course, is no potions. And another final nail in the coffin for why this is going to have to play a little bit differently than the majority of our spellcasters is, unfortunately, mummies don't have access to any transmutation forms. So we're going to have to just become a true blaster caster here at our very core and see how that goes. No transmutation spells and no spells that only affect the living. So I think that's stuff like Sublimation of Blood, some of the like Bjorgnir's Revivification. Always trip up over that one, Revivify. But we'll see what we end up building, how we end up going here, especially considering the fact that mummies have absolutely atrocious aptitudes and attitudes, might I add, but mostly the aptitudes across the board are a little bit rough to deal with here, so we're going to potentially have to be a little more careful where we throw our experience, at least for the early to mid game, because it's going to be tight, it's going to be rough. But we'll get our skills set up, of course, as usual. I'll keep telling myself that we might use throwables in the early game, at least if we truly get desperate, if we run out of options completely. And last but not least, let's dump a morgue here. There we go. Give my File Explorer a quick second to refresh here. And there you are, Ryan Gosling. Perfect, so we'll grab that seed and we'll pop that in here in case any of you lovely folks want to play along at home and see how you fare in the dungeon. But with all of that out of the way, let's just get ready to hop into it. It's gonna feel nice to be able to auto-explore again, I'll tell you that. It has been too long with Meteorins, even though it was probably one of the shorter species, all things considered. It's gonna feel weird for quite a while here. to have my way with the dungeon in terms of turn count. No, Meteor finished? It did, yeah, just yesterday, just last night, we managed to get through that in one piece. And it was fantastic with good old Gemini solo, of course. It was really fun actually because we got to play a ranged character again as well. Baraki has definitely turned me on to that side of things, especially in this latest update. I absolutely love what they've done with ranged gameplay, so that is fantastic. I also had a moment of blankness in my head where I was like, hey, why are we grabbing that potion? But right, that's not going to be a concern for us here today whatsoever. Awesome, we'll definitely toss on some gloves, some nice elbow high blues here. And sure, I'll pick up a spear, just so we're holding something for the time being. Even though that whip is potentially looking like a better option. And we'll of course run away while we're in quite the precarious situation to start off here. It's way too early to be seeing this many new friends. Why, hello there. But no problems really whatsoever. Not too shabby. 2 leathers, 1 for each arm. I didn't even notice. I thought I forgot to pick up the first leather as we made our way through. Whoopsie daisies. But again, you never know. We might need the second one, especially what if the first one doesn't quite fit our frame, you know? What if it's not the fitted suit that we so deserve to wear as we make our way further and further through the dungeon here. I feel like I'm gonna have to keep remarking on how weird it feels to actually be exploring a floor in its entirety. I only played Meteorin for a small while, and it took me a lot to get used to their playstyle and how they worked. And yet, now we're on the opposite side of the coin where it feels like that is just the way the game has always been played. That is life, rushing through the dungeons and diving as quickly as possible. Adders potentially don't pose quite as much of a risk as they used to due to our poison immunity, but I'm still concerned with only 19 health. It might be a bit of a rough and tumble as it were, so not sure how much I want to fight that son of a gun, at least at the moment here. Apparently, oh, my auto pickup is probably going for the gold. That's fair. That's what I get for trusting Auto Explorer with my very well-being here. But no real issue, and we should. There we go. Level up soon is what I was going to say. And so that brings us just a wee bit closer to the good stuff here. We might as well learn both Frozen Ramparts and Ozuku's armor immediately. They're pretty dang close to castable at 11% failure rate if we really so desire. And in fact, let's do it against our adder friend here, shall we? Fantastic, that gives us a really sweet advantage. Oh wow, and a D2 longbow. How about that? And once more, we'll bring that buddy into our trap. And now we've settled into the sweet spot for the early game Ice Elementalist. Once you get Ozukubu's and Frozen Ramparts up and running, you're generally in a pretty solid place until, like, Lair. At least, you know, fingers crossed and all of that. Have to see how it all works in practice here, but I'm feeling like it should be a-okay. And sure, I'll put on some resist corrosion. Hopefully we don't come across any early acid drakes, but you never know, so it's worth a shot. What was that effect on you, my friend? You drank a potion. Oh, you drank a resistance potion. You son of a gun. I could have used that. Actually, what am I saying? No, I couldn't have. Again, learning curve as we start off with a new species here. And I'm hoping that we'll end up following Gozag here. It's between Gozag, or we could also go with just one of the caster gods, Fahamit, most likely out of the two. We'll have to see what we're feeling and how things are looking by the time we get down to the Economical Temple here. And again, very much different from Meteorin, we will 100% be clearing every last spot on these floors because we need as much experience as we can possibly garner if we're going to make it through this in one piece. Ooh. And I am excited to see what this spellbook might have in store for us. So let's take a look. It is a Poisoner's Handbook. I mean, I do love me some Olgreb's Toxic Radiation, especially if we can get some Ignite Poison behind that bad boy, then we'll definitely be cooking with gas. So we'll see how it all unfolds moving forward here, but a fantastic start to say the least. And not too shabby whatsoever. Oh, hello, Jib. You have a Wand of Ice Blast? I definitely want to get next to you as soon as possible. Oh, you also had a Berserk Potion. Well, that's just lovely, you know? But we should be able to output a decent amount of damage here. I was not expecting an enraged Jib. I was mostly hoping that we wouldn't have to deal with that Ice Blast wand, but here we are. So let's take a look. Maybe Atropa is our answer here. 75% chance to blind. Not very good odds to hit, but good enough apparently. Ooh. Frozen ramparts are down and you're not even close to dead? Well, that's not great. Fortunately, you are blinded, so I can potentially make a wee bit of an escape here. And now that you're slowed, if I can just bring back our ramparts. This is not looking good. Up to 9 damage. I mean, sure, you're slowed, but that doesn't mean a lot. And unfortunately, I don't know how much we can rely on bringing back ramparts, so it might just be a couple freezes. Cross your fingers, folks, and hope that it all works out. Can at least blind you again. Gives us a little bit of extra hope and protection. And then we can choose between a 47% chance to hit with poison versus, let's see how we are with a spear, 50-50 about. You know what? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Let's just take some swings here. Fantastic. And we do manage to make it through that in one piece. Definitely a lot closer than I would have liked, but we got there in the end. And you know, Terrence, I'm going to learn my lesson. Even if you look like we should potentially be able to take you down, there is no real guarantee. So we'll just head right back upstairs and not come down there, but instead right about here. And you know, the plan was to not skip even the slightest bit of floors. Not a tile was going to escape our glance, but I'm already going to have to go back on that because I'd rather not deal with those two sons of guns, Terrence and Grinder. So for the time being, we'll just keep it moving here. We can always come back in the near future if we really get desperate for that experience. And the cloak should be a lovely bit of health, or help rather. But more importantly, there's protection from fire, so that gets rid of our vulnerability. Still not resistant by any stretch of the imagination, but I will very much take what I can get here. You could come right this way, my friend. I'd appreciate that. And fantastic. More low health, high evasion enemies, please and thank you, if you don't mind. Not quite in the same category here, but still not too bad from our perspective. And we do manage to find the temple, so we will take a quick looky-loo, a quick peek-see-do across the board here. I'm not seeing any Gozag. Ooh. No Gozag, hey? How you wound me, game. You wound me. So, do we cut our losses? Go with a little bit of Vehement action here today? Potentially. Let's take a sip from the beverage while we decide how desperate am I to get Gozag. Because I would very much like it. It offsets the potion weakness by being able to potion petition to get around your lack of consumables. On top of that, I mean, I love me some bribing action, and being able to bribe Zot makes it infinitely easier to complete. Generally on a Gozag character, if I have 12,000 in the bank by the time I get to Zot, I'm feeling like that's a one run already. But maybe we'll spice it up a bit. We'll keep it a bit more interesting here with Vehement today. Sif Moon is a little less useful to me on a mummy. Still nice to have, you know, channel magic, divine exegesis, all that good stuff, but so often The whole reason that I go Sif Muna is to guarantee some statue form, some dragon form, some storm form even, any of that goodness. But that's unfortunately not an option for us whatsoever here on Mummy, so we're just gonna have to make do as we are here. And we'll choose Vehement over Sif, I think pretty much every time on a Mummy character. But still not too shabby of a start. Feeling good. If I run into a Gozeg altar right away, there will be some slight amount of regret. You son of a gun. Turns out maybe I should have held off just a smidge longer, but hey, it's not the end of the world. Let's give Vehement a good run for their money here. We'll try it on for size and see how things go. Can always change our mind at a later date, and not a huge fan of this black bear. And that's the only thing that woke up. Okay, I'm just gonna turn right around real quick, and this should be a wee bit more comfortable to say the least. Still pretty dang close to our bear friend. And definitely just have to close the gap to you, my horsey pal. And not too shabby. There we go, we can heal up real quick. And if we're gonna fight you, it's gonna be in the arena of our choosing, so let's just throw up some walls here real quick. Hopefully keep up some walls, there we go. Once more with feeling, fantastic. And that's not too bad whatsoever. And this is just our life now. Not much to do about it. 3% failure, we're probably relatively close to being able to switch over to our leather armor here without sacrificing cast rates too much. So we will probably do so in just a moment. At the very least, I can give it a shot. Let's see how things are looking, shall we? If we swap over, yeah, from 3% to 4%, that's not too bad in my books. And as for you, my Ogier friend, we can stack some poison and get the cold. We should be able to kill you before you ruin our life, and fantastic. A little bit of excitement there at the end, but nothing we can't handle. On the flip side, I'll definitely just run away from a Wraith. Gosh darn it, never mind, you're gonna catch up to me, so now we are in a heck of a lot of trouble. Let's see, Scroll of Noise? Not quite what I was looking for. Ah, but teleportation. Now that's the ticket. Fantastic, so that will warp us out of here real quick, and then let's just play it as safely as we possibly can. We'll head upstairs, rest up, and do we skip the rest of this floor? Eustachio? Maybe, not a problem. Don't love Summoner, but at least most of the mammals, or most of the rats, are gonna die to our Frozen Ramparts in rapid fashion. Oh, jeez Louise. And that's what happens when we don't pay attention. I think we will try out another bit of teleportation action. Hopefully we don't run into that Wraith. What the heck is going on here? So many new friends. Oh, and you had might. That's not something you do on your own. Of course you had a might potion. Now if you haste yourself, then we are in a world of hurt. It'll definitely be a wee bit of a rough shot here, but we can throw down some acid. And that should get us a decent amount of damage. And then let's finish that up, or follow that up rather, with a wee bit of Ice Blast. Jeez Louise. Oh, and you with your blinking, you're gonna be a real pain in the butt here. A +7 Dire Flail of protection? No wonder you hurt like a truck. Jeez Louise. I'm not really one for two-handed maces and flails, but we could probably lug that buddy around temporarily here if we survive this next wee bit. So Eustachio has 40 health. And yeah, if you summon minor demons, we could potentially find ourselves in a bit of a tricky situation, but small mammals, I don't have too much of a problem with that, my mustachioed friend. Gosh darn it. What? All of our teleports are going down the drain early on here. But c'est la vie, it is what it is, and hopefully that gives us the tools we need to survive at the very least. That's all that matters at the end of the day here. Bit of sacrifice in how we normally would like to play is not the end of the world by any stretch of the imagination, and otherwise we will just keep on keeping on here. Fantastic. We're also hoping to get some other spells accessible to us pretty quick here. I mean, OTR is pretty sweet and all, and in fact, we could start training in that direction relatively soon. We're about to hit the cap that we put on spellcasting. Ice magic, sure we can gain a little bit of extra spell power here or there, but I'm not too obsessed with this 10. In fact, if we take a look, we're at 56% frozen ramparts, 28 armor. I think Ozakubu's armor has a pretty high ceiling for spell power. Frozen ramparts, on the other hand, not so much. It just gets a little bit better from here. So once we've gained just a little bit more experience, I think I will pull the trigger on poison magic, and we'll switch over to giving that a run for its money, a good old shot. And we definitely would like to kill Dowen first here. Always fantastic. We do have to be careful of the Berserked Juvesa, but as long as we can outlast, outsmart, outplay, out something. Huge Survivor fan. You couldn't tell based on absolutely butchering the slogan there. But double willpower leather armor is absolutely huge. One thing that we've neglected to mention so far for anyone who hasn't tried out too many mummies is that one of our worst nightmares in the entire dungeon is going to be confusion and, of course, like all characters, paralysis, petrification, all that bad stuff, but mostly confusion. Without access to curing potions, we are definitely in a bit of a rough spot when it comes to getting confused. No real options or avenues if it does happen, so anything we can contribute to avoid such an eventuality is just absolutely huge, and willpower goes a long way. It's not quite clarity, but it's the next best thing at the end of the day. Hello, my orcish friends. If we could all come right this way, come one, come all, step right up and enjoy the free ride. A +2 Whip of Distortion on this kobold. Okay. Don't love that, but fortunately they do die just immediately to our frozen ramparts. So, you know, small pleasures and all of that. And spellcasting has hit 7 as well. We've also replenished one of our teleportation scrolls, so I will gladly take that. And a +6 Vorpal Flail. Who the heck is feeding these sons of guns here in the dungeon today? Jeez Louise. Let's throw out the early acid on you once again. Maybe some paralysis. Okay, that does the trick. So I guess that's actually our first target here. It's a little bit easier to use than this son of a gun. Plus we can switch over to a shield. I guess -3 base accuracy versus a +0. Yeah, we'll take the dire flail, or the regular flail for now, rather. Fantastic. And in fact, we should just be able to swing away at these sons of guns. This is where that willpower comes in handy. 0% confused at this stage in the game. Don't mind if I do. Just wonderful. And that is perfect. Does mean that we're potentially stuck in this leather armor for a decent little bit here. But it is what it is. We do have our innate cold resistance, so we might actually be fine to fight off against you, my friend. A little bit worse for wear from the encounter, but nothing we can't handle. And that is just lovely. Similarly, we will murder you again, and oh my gosh. We get Freezing Cloud, and we get Ignite Poison. Oh gosh, now we're too spoiled, and I'm really concerned with what the game is going to throw at us next. Question becomes, do we learn Freezing Cloud? it might have to hold out just a little bit. Having a triple school with -2 aptitudes across the board, it's going to be rough to get this son of a gun online. It's at least going to take a little while. On the flip side, just poison, that I can do. And we can always end up doing a bit of training into fire here as well. And yeah, we'll definitely end up using all of these. Those all work with each other, right, though? Well, exactly. And we'll almost definitely get Freezing Cloud at some point here, but it's mostly OTR and Ignite Poison that we want. Clouds and Blowing Up Poison. Oh, I see what you're saying. So like even Mephitic? Potentially, but yeah, I think to just keep it simple, keep it stupid here. I'm going to focus down OTR because the OTR Ignite Poison combo, I mean, I just can't live without it, really, at the end of the day. So let's set this to 9 instead. We can kind of cap off our ice magic there for the time being, and we'll switch over to learning a wee bit of poison magic. And yeah, we could come up against poison resistant monsters for sure, and I guess the downside of that is that they're largely also cold resistance. It's going to be things like undead. But that's where the +6 flail comes in. At least I'm going to hinge my bets there a wee bit, and we're going to try and focus on the rest of it. We'll probably end up learning Mephitic Cloud in the process, seeing as how we'll be able to cast it based on the rest of our training here. But we'll burn that bridge when we get there, and we'll see what happens over the next little while on the run here. And that will definitely give us some indication of where we want to go here today. Hoping that we're still as well suited for fighting off our Ice Beast friend, and we are indeed, so that's no real problem whatsoever. No high stacks of scrolls yet though, so unfortunately we don't have our identify even close to figured out at the moment. But maybe, just maybe, this can change that. I mean, there is some identify for sale. Torment also becomes very interesting, seeing as how we can kind of just freely use it. Holy Word is no longer an option whatsoever, but being able to torment, specifically for like certain unique fights, seems kind of nice. But for the time being, well, we're not rolling in cash. Let's just go with an ID scroll and see how many of those bad boys we have now. Do have 3 of them. And if we take a look here, we can do a little bit of inscribing action. Let's add our one that son of a gun. And perfect. Ooh, Scroll of Poison, also huge for very similar reasons to Torment, actually. Because we don't have to worry about being affected by it personally at all. Also, you can see I was way too used to using a spear there, just spamming the key, thinking I could attack from far away. But again, similar to Torment, we're able to use poison pretty freely and hopefully get a lot of good work done thanks to it, because we are completely immune to the stuff. So that's something we should keep an eye on, keep in mind as an option for us moving forward. And until then, we're just back on the grind here, back on the move. Feeling good, feeling fancy. I don't like that the warrior has an arbalist. That seems less than ideal. I guess 50% chance to paralyze you is just gonna fail over and over again. Oh gosh. Well, this took a very sudden turn for the worse. Probably should have run as soon as I saw that this son of a gun had an arbalist in hand. Whoopsie daisies. But what else can we do here? Could go for one final bastion of hope. We need 2 50% successes here, because I would need to paralyze the Orc Warrior. Ogre's gonna step up, and then we try to paralyze them as well. Never should have let it get to this stage, but here we are, and we're gonna try it. We fail paralysis again. How many coin flips can one man fail? Oh gosh, it just continues. There we go. Both of them passed out. I'm just gonna leave. It was tempting to just finish off the fight. It always is. But I would rather live to fight another day here and we can just bring out these nice walls to help us out here. And let's do some math. 32 damage on you. We can probably kill the ogre right away here. Famous last words and all of that. Let's head upstairs. As long as we don't die, which we don't quite yet, so that's nice. 86% chance to hit, and it will kill you. Fantastic. Oof, cutting it a little bit too close to the cuff there. I don't even know if we head back down these stairs. I don't really want to deal with that son of a gun again. Chances are, it should go okay. But on the slim option that it doesn't, I'm not feeling too great. On the other hand, Olgrub's Toxic Radiance already down to 38%, so that castability is falling fast here. It helps that we got a bit of extra intelligence in the process, so that is just fantastic, just lovely. And we'll hopefully be able to just continue that climb here and get that up and running as soon as we possibly can here, because that will be a big power leap for us, specifically when we, I guess, also get Ignite Poison up and running, which should be in a similar time frame. So we have that to very much look forward to here, and otherwise we'll just be doing our same old dang thing until the end of time itself. Okay, more come one, come all. Hello, my kobold friends. So sorry with how unfortunately it all ends up here. Such is the way of life, I guess, at the end of the day. And we should be able to kill you. Fantastic. Invisible wizard somewhere here should also die, I believe. Oh, there we go. We'll swing into space instead to make the game happy. Know that we're not accidentally walking out of our frozen ramparts. Okie dokie, well, fantastic. Not too shabby of a start whatsoever. Oh, there's our favorite friend. Ooh, geez Louise, do I dare. Step next to you, first and foremost. Put up that son of a gun. Maybe try and paralyze you again. Of course it goes off without a hitch this time. Now that there's not imminent danger, oh, no problem. We can. The game's got my back in that case. But here we go. This is exactly why we are very fortunate to have this flail as an option. That white imp could have been a real pain in the butt otherwise. And largely we avoid these fancy areas. Kind of glad that we're feeling strong enough to be able to take it on. And so we'll continue to do so here unless I see something that very much throws us in the opposite direction. I mean, these little vault areas kind of get my heart going because I don't realize at first that there's a rune door between us and this absolutely terrifying future. But no real problems at the end of the day. And we can potentially, yeah, even just keep on keeping on here. Even with all these undead sons of guns. Let's see, 23 damage plus freeze. So freeze isn't a big deal with our innate cold resistance. 23 damage on the other hand, definitely sucks, don't get me wrong. But is potentially manageable. Let's put up our fancy armor here, and fantastic, there we are. And not too shabby whatsoever.